And this is kind of like Peter. It's exactly like that. He's not on his deathbed, but he knows he's near the verge. He's on the edge of death. And so he's writing to his children, his spiritual children, a message that you and I need to hear, a message that he wants them to hear, a message that says, hey, listen, I failed, but I don't want you to fail. This is a story of what Jesus does that I think personally is maybe one of the most profound stories of Jesus. It's a story where Jesus calls Peter aside and he says to Peter, do you love me? And actually that's the word agape, the word love, the ultimate word for love. And Peter knows that he doesn't love Jesus like that. He knows what he had just done and how he had denied Jesus. And Peter basically says, you know how I feel about you. And I think in essence, he says, you know, I love you. You know, I failed. You know, I feel bad about having failed, about having denounced. And Jesus turns to him and he says, well, then feed my sheep. He doesn't reject him, but he recommissions him. Then Peter goes on to devote the rest of his life after having denied Christ both 3 times on the night of his crucifixion and even after his resurrection to feed his sheep. Everywhere he could go, he just went here and there sharing the gospel. Feeding Jesus' sheep, fulfilling his calling, devoting himself to that after having failed. Now at the end of his life, when he knows he's about to die, because Jesus had predicted that earlier, he writes a message. He writes a letter to you and to me. He writes a letter to the church about what you should do so you won't be like me. A message that says, hey, listen, I failed, but I don't want you to fail. And here's what you need to do to not fail. To not become like those in the 21st century who have denounced God, and even like him in the first century who denied Jesus too. God has given us something. His divine power has granted to us all things. All things pertain to life and godliness. We have a superpower. We have the superpower that raised Jesus from the dead resident within us. There are no more excuses for what you and I can't do. You can't say, but God, I want to be a better parent. I want to stop hollering at my kids. I want to be more patient. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that, but I can't do it. That's not the way I am. That's just the way you made me, God. No more excuses, because you have a superpower within you that helps you not only be born again, brings your salvation, but helps you live out your salvation in sanctification, in godliness. There's no more excuses, because you have God's divine power. We must climb to work out or grow our faith so that we will not deny or denounce our faith. And Peter is writing from his heart, please don't do what I did. Don't let life cause you to doubt and deny Christ, but instead grow in him. Add to your faith with virtue, and virtue with knowledge, and knowledge with self-control, and self-control with steadfastness, and steadfastness with godliness, and godliness with brotherly affection with love. And yes, you cannot do them on your own, but I have given you everything you need to do it. What's the current condition of your faith? Is it growing? Or is it like Peter in need of a fresh start? Because I hope these next several weeks will help you grow or strengthen your faith, or maybe even restart your faith.